Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the DC Direct All-Star Series 1 action figures, and today we're having a look at Batman. Not a relatively new figure, but definitely a figure I wanted to get around to reviewing. This comes to us from the pages of the All-Star, I was going to say New 52, but the All-Star comics of Batman. Drawn by Jim Lee. Some of the better artwork of Batman out there. Picture, by the way, of Batman on the side there. I like this package. Obviously being that, well, DC Direct are usually good for a package that you can see the figure in and really you could keep on display. This figure would look really nice on display just as is. You don't necessarily have to take it out, but for this review, I will take it out of package. If I flip over the package, flip over the back side, we've got the other figures that make up this wave. We've got Batman, Batgirl, Superman, and Super Lois. The read-up says, Bruce Wayne struggles to keep his anger in check, even though he knows the impressionable Robin and Batgirl are learning from his every move. He's a little more grittier of a Batman than, I guess, some of the Batmans that I grew up with. This comes to us, again, from the pages of the New 52 Superman, or sorry, not New 52, the All-Star, I'm going to keep saying New 52, I just know it. From the All-Star comics of Batman and Robin, and the All-Star comics of Superman. I guess neither one really exists anymore, do they? New 52. Curse you, New 52. What I am going to do is take a bit of a break. Going to get this opened up. When we come back, we're going to get a better look at the All-Star Batman. Stay tuned. More is on the way. Well, let me just say this figure's riddled with problems. Where do we even start? Let's start probably with let's start at the bottom. How about that? Let's start at the bottom. For starters, All-Star Batman does come with a display stand. And normally we would have gotten a basic black display stand, nothing on it, just basically a disc with a peg for a foot. At least here we get a DC All-Star logo. Now, you may not be able to use it with other figures. You probably could and just ignore the fact that it says All-Star on there. There is a section where the peg can come out. I don't know why. I don't know why it really needs to. I like the display stand. It could have been a little larger, but I like the display stand. The problem is, Batman's one peg hole on his foot doesn't seem to want a peg in there. I've tried, and maybe I just haven't added enough finesse to it. I have tried to get his foot. Oh, there we go. Okay, maybe we got it. I was right. I just had to put a little finesse into it. By finesse, I mean I basically had to force it on there. It doesn't even seem like he stands on it really that well either. He just kind of flops all over the place. Just take him off the display stand. I'm going to put that aside. I suppose, again, it's nice that they come with a display stand. I'm just going to put it over there. All right, let's look at the parts that are good about this figure. For starters, this is his face, and his face works relatively well. Some nice detailing on the face. You can see Batman's eyes, the white of his eyes. You can even make out that he's got a grimacing smile going on there. You can see his teeth. You can even see that he's got a painted upper lip and lower lip. That is some fine work. He utilizes these smaller bat ears. You can also even make out that he's got human ears inside the cowl. All really, really good. I also really like the choice of gray that they went with. He's got a more classic, simplistic Batman logo on the chest here. Some nice wrinkles going on in his top torso. I got like the gold in his utility belt. And I really like his cape. I like the cape, although it's pre-posed in some extent. To some extent, it is pre-posed. It is rubber, or like a rubbery plastic, but at least it works on the figure. Alright, so that's good things out of the way. Let's focus the bad. We don't want to really focus too much on the bad, but let's focus on the bad, shall we? While I really like about this point up, from the waist up, it looks like a really good Batman figure. He's got some nice shine going on the gloves. He's got the same sheen on his boots. Kind of look like rubber boots. I don't know why. For some reason they look like rubber boots. He's got this nice sheen going on his gloves, on his boots. Overall, he works really, really well. The problem is he's doomed to be posed a certain way. Yes, the good folks at DC Direct, I was going to say Diamond Select, DC Direct have decided, no, we're going to have you pose your Batman in one way only. You'll see that Batman is really awkward looking. He's awkward looking because his waist only is pre-posed one way. This point right here, I thought was on a waist swivel. I thought you could rotate the waist. No, it's fixed. It is sculpted that way. There is no way, no other way you can pose that Batman. It looks like he's sucking in his gut as well. Now, again, you can't rotate it. When you start getting down to the bottom leg area, it just looks like a mess. For starters, it looks like Batman is sporting some extra business downstairs, as it were. But he's got this one awkward leg. It's straight. I don't really know what it's doing. I just don't know. The other leg looks like it's bent. So it looks like the leg needs to be bent and it needs to be curled back so Batman is leaning against it, or he's pushing off from it. If that is the case, I don't really know what's supposed to be going on with this leg right here. If you have it further back, it looks awkward. It looks like his leg bone is sticking out. Or his pelvis, I guess, is sticking out. I really don't know. I don't know what's going on. He has no behind to speak of either. Why I felt the need to point that out, I really don't know. But, yeah, I just don't really know how to properly pose this Batman. The peg hole, again, is on this foot. So I don't know if maybe this foot's supposed to be leaning forward. Maybe it's supposed to be like that. Maybe he's leaning, but again, his legs don't rotate. Even if this leg was to go forward and this leg be further back, like he's propelling himself, it feels to me like he shouldn't be facing this way. Unless the head is supposed to be turned this way. But it just seems like it doesn't make much sense to me. And I might be the only one that thinks that. Because again, like getting him positioned, is he just gonna lean down? Is that what we're doing? Is this what we're doing with this Batman? We're just gonna have him leaning down? That's the only thing that makes sense with his foot being bent. Or maybe you bend the knee. Maybe it goes like that. There's one thing I really don't like about figures, and that's the notion that it has to be pre-posed. Haven't we not gotten away from the notion that things have to be pre-posed now? Don't we kind of like options? I like options. Don't you like options? This Batman, unfortunately, doesn't give you many options. As for his articulation, and this is something else that kind of threw me off guard a little bit. His upper head, well, his head, is on a ball joint. That's nice. I like that. His arms look only to be on a, well, I was going to say only on a swivel, but they do bend out. They're on a, I guess, a pin and socket. He's got a bend in the elbows. You can kind of have him maybe leaning forward, kind of lunging like that. But then when you get down to the waist, it's just a disaster. No waist swivel, and then you got the legs to go forward, back, bend at the knee, and bend. That's it, bend at the knee. So I guess maybe you kind of have him leaning forward like, maybe you can have him leaning forward like that. Okay, now maybe we can start telling a story. We have him leaning forward. His peg really does not, his foot really doesn't want to peg into his display base. Maybe we can have him displayed like that. Maybe like that, like so. I guess that doesn't look too bad. There you go. That's how I think I'm gonna display him. Just kind of have him leaning, I guess, like there. That's basically how I'm probably gonna have him posed. It works. It looks nice. This is clearly one of those cases where DC Direct has made essentially a statue. I would love this figure if we had had more options in the way of his posability. I mean, to have his legs straight, you can see that it just looks wrong. Just looks wrong right about this area here. Love the upper torso. I love the head sculpt. That is an awesome, awesome head sculpt. But unfortunately, because they've decided that this figure is going to be pre-posed, you only have so many options to how you can display him. Would I recommend this figure? I would as a display piece, but unfortunately you're going to have a lot of limitations as to how you can display this figure. On a sculpt alone, I'm going to give this figure an 8.5. High? Maybe, but again, from this point on, it's a gorgeous figure. From about the pelvis going further down, it's a bit of a disaster. And I don't know why we couldn't have at least got a waist swivel and why we couldn't have had a lot more going on in the leg area. Oh well. Today's toy Spot really ripped into this toy, didn't he? I know he really ripped into it. Today we're having a look at the DC Direct All-Star Batman figure. Let me know down below your thoughts on this figure. If you've picked him up, maybe you have shared similar frustrations, or perhaps let me know what you guys think of pre-posed figures. You like them? You don't like them? I like options personally, but that's just me. Thanks for watching as you always do, guys. Certainly stick around. More toy spots are heading your way. And I'll see you guys next time.